It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi folks, thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Lesante, and if you recall when I had a special edition of The Sam Lesante Show, I had Chief DeAndre on and Mayor Yannuzzi, and during that show I mentioned about the city council meetings and the disruptions and all that other stuff, and mentioned about watchdogs. And on the show today, I have Grace Cuozzo, okay, who is a concerned citizen, and I have John Keegan, who is chairman of the Hazleton City Authority. Now, one of the things that Grace sent to me, and I do want to apologize if I gave the wrong impression here. It says, my issue with your past remarks concerning your comments about watchdogs, you as a representative of the press should be encouraging more people to attend all public meetings, get involved, not slamming the few that do. That is one reason why many people do not attend meetings or speak up. I would like to see you, is you and any press support all citizens' right to attend and speak at meetings, not have 3 police called on someone. If Perry can't conduct the meeting, he should give up his chair as president. It was not the man's fault. I know what that is. So my point is this. I encourage everyone to attend public meetings if they can. We try to show them as much information as possible. Neither television nor print could put it all on, but I understand the city councils now are on the website. But the point that I'm trying to make, and Grace, and thanks for coming on the show, okay, and John, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
My point is that I'd like to see tons of people come to meetings, all right? And people have been going to meetings such as you for many, many years, okay? And that's a good thing. But my point is that whether it's Grace Cuozzo, whether it's Sam Lesante, or whomever it is, Grace, is what is being accomplished at these meetings. We go to some of these meetings, as you see, and they turn into a circus, which sort of downgrades the city. And then are we dealing with facts? I just told you prior to this show that I've been told a couple things about fees and well, if someone's telling me that I respect, I'm going to take that as fact, but we don't know sometimes that they're fact. So my point was that you going to these meetings, okay, as a concerned, I certainly, you're no dummy by no means. You have a lot of knowledge, okay, and when you ran for office, you got a lot of votes. So people certainly respect you. What is it that you bring, that you want to bring to City Hall? What is it that you would like to see happen that everyone could work together?
I'd like to see us try to get on track financially.
Okay.
But with that letter, the reasons were recently at the past council meeting, a man was speaking. As we all get older, I think our hearing goes. I know mine did to a degree. Mm-hmm. I don't think the guy, and I don't know him.
Well, explain what happened, because the viewers don't know. Oh.
And
someone caught up to the
speak. He was at the mic. He was given recognition by the chair. He was speaking. Mm-hmm. He did go on, but the chairman did not tell him, hey, your time's up, because they give you 3 minutes and your time's up. The man was explaining an issue with mold, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what he had to have done, and he showed me some paperwork. I don't know exactly what needed to be done. But council did not stop him. Next thing you know, the secretary, Lisa, went out, then 3 policemen come up. Now, if we can send 3 policemen to council chambers for a man speaking, I guess he spoke loud, but I speak loud. And it's just, I do. I don't know why, but I was talking to the kids, and that's what happened.
So my point is...
And the man was, the cops wanted him out, and he had no idea what he did.
Okay, well, I don't know either what he did, okay? But let's get back to you, okay, going to the meetings. And, okay, so what are you bringing to the table?
Okay, all right, they just did some new ordinances. They rewrote original ordinances we already had in the book. And I pointed out to Chief DeAndre, the dog ordinance, or the animal ordinance. We already had an animal ordinance on the books with a number of animals that you were allowed to have in your home, at which point after that number you became a kennel, which required further licensing. Mm-hmm. And so he was able to reduce, because in his ordinance he had, I believe, 6 animals, whatever the animal, other than fish. Mm-hmm. and he was able to reduce it to 4. Because you start putting 4 animals and 4 dogs in one house.
But so what's your point, though? What was it?
Well, I pointed out to him he was able to reduce that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he didn't see the original ordinance. I can't answer that one. You'd have to ask him. And oftentimes...
So you wanted the ordinance to say 4?
I didn't want the ordinance to do anything. He evidently wanted it to. I was showing him there was one there.
Yeah.
They were already there on these books.
Yeah.
And they're rewriting them, and they're not looking at the original one and not seeing where they can help correct it if they're going to rewrite it. Let's bring it to what we really want. Fine-tune it, and they're not doing it. And since he was making more animals, we don't need people with more animals in a lot of these homes.
So your point was you felt that it should stay at 6 animals?
No, stay at 4.
So it's 4, okay. And did he increase it to 6?
Yeah, in the new one,
Okay,
but then he reduced it.
Okay. What was some other things that you see in the city, okay, that you're bringing to the table? Because you're there at these meetings all the time, and as a concerned citizen, okay, what is it that you feel the city should be doing? Because I do want to talk about fees, I want to talk about Benish, I want to talk about, a number of things that I don't know if people are getting all the right. It's rumors are one thing, Grace, as you know that, okay? If you say Sam Lesante 6'3" a zillion times, people think I'm 6'3", okay? So what is it that when you go to the meetings that you're trying to bring out?
Oftentimes, I happen to like politics.
I know you do, so do I.
I happen to like the stimulation. I like to read what they're going to pass.
Yeah.
And it's not only the
nothing
city.
wrong with that. Yeah.
I go to water. I've gone to sewer. I mean, housing. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, housing is in the daytime, and most people are busy, and even I'm busy. Mm-hmm. But I like to read what's going on, what they're doing, what they're changing, why, and where's it going to affect each of us in the city. And hey, I'm not a shopper. I mean, a lot of women go shopping. I don't. I happen to like politics.
And I love that, okay? I like to watch Fox News because I feel I'm getting a good analysis of the news, and I do feel that they're fair and balanced. So I enjoy that. That's part of it. And so when you're involved with some of those things, okay, you have opinions. So my thing is to have the city go forward, okay, instead of backward. All right? What are some of the things that you feel, okay, that the city should be doing? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I think the city, and it's going to be the leaders, have to get together. And I think Joe has to start attending the meetings. And if he chooses, really, he doesn't have to by law. Mm-hmm. Our administrator should be there. Okay,
now let me stop you in 1 minute here, okay? Because I was a chairman of a board. And I saw on the board, okay, where we had to take over and straighten a lot of things out because there were things that were not going properly. And when we got the majority to do that, the other side became very upset with us. And so anytime that they could disrupt what we were trying to do, they did it, okay? And then we would say, wait a minute.
But you have that with any agency.
Yeah, I understand.
Any group.
But
you always have a majority and minority. I've seen it with school, with water, with the city council throughout the years.
Grace, let me stop.
That happens with all of them.
Let me inject. I've let you go on and not said a word. I was the minority up at the city authority, and I did not get disruptive over votes that did not go my way. As a minority person, you have to accept that. And you have been either elected or appointed to make that government entity or authority move forward. And if you're going to be an obstacle and disruptive, you might as well not even be there because it isn't productive. And it isn't going to help the citizens. It's not going to help the ratepayers. And that is the problem.
And so let me interject one thing because I have to go to break. So what I'm trying to say to you, John, okay, when you minority and you as a concerned citizen and running for office. And first of all,
I'm not running for
No, I
anything.
said that ran for office, okay, and I applaud anyway, is that sometimes when people, okay, are on the opposite side, what they try to do, okay, they're not. And I'm not saying you, Grace, and I'm not saying you, John. I'm saying in general, sometimes people feel, well, wherever I could get them now, okay, to deter progress, I'm going to do that. It had happened to me. Until we exposed those people and said, look, here's what this person is saying right now. Let's get all the facts and do that. We're only going backwards now. He's preventing us from moving ahead to do what we have to do. Because, you know, we have an election this year. The United States people have to decide, are we happy with President Obama or are we not? They're going to vote. Whatever decision they make, that's what we have to live with. Stay with me a sec. Folks, I'm talking to Grace Cuozzo and John Keegan, discussing the politics. And for those of you who are watching in Monterey City and Frackville and all the other areas we serve, it's important, too, to find out how your government's running and are we doing the best thing. I certainly applaud Grace and those people who go to the meetings. Believe me, I do. But let's get some positive things out of it. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Thanks for tuning us in. And remember, you can watch us 24/7 on ssptv.com. Every one of our shows are there. The girls, the news, you name it, it's on. Atomic and Spring Mountain water, folks. The official water of Samson Production is SSP TV. This is the water, folks. If they don't have it, where you buy your water, ask for Atomic and Mountain Spring water. JoJo's on the Beltway carries the water. For those of you who are in Tamaka or different areas, but ask for Atomic and Mountain Spring water. And of course, my Mona V, which I take 2 shots every day, Mr. Keegan. Makes you be strong. It makes me feel good. Okay, Mona V, folks. Dan Basala, give him a call, folks. I take 2 shots every day. It's good stuff. Believe me when I tell you. My guests, Grace Cuozzo and John Keegan. We had a little meeting before. We discussed concerned citizens. I do encourage people going to meetings. My point was, as we were discussing before, when I was in that situation, so I could speak from experience, we had somebody who did not like the change. They knew, in our case, they knew that we were on to them and what they were doing, and we had to do certain things. And so every time the person could disrupt, okay, even say rumors, okay, we hiring people that weren't qualified, and which were never the case. So what we're trying to say here is, as we're going, John, you were mentioning about when you were in a minority, okay?
Right. When I was on the minority in the HCA, first off, I looked at the agenda. There was nowhere for new business or old business. There was nowhere for me to insert legislation. You know, the difference between Hazleton City Council and Hazleton City Authority can be summed up like this. The Hazleton City Authority is the executive and the legislative branch all in one, okay? When we went to optional Plan B, we went to the strong mayor executive style of government and a part-time council, which is legislative, no different than the President of the United States and the Congress, or no different than the governor and the House of Representatives and the State Senate. So it's a total different change, and it's hard for people to wrap themselves around that. There's debate whether the mayor should be at the meetings or shouldn't be at the meetings, but the president doesn't attend the congressional sessions, and the governor doesn't attend the state House of Representatives sessions. It's a total different form of government, and the powers vested with the mayor are extensive. There was a recent debate over budget transfers. Yet back in the 90s, then Solicitor Attorney Lucadamo opined that as long as budget transfers were within departments, stayed within the department of the budget, you know, and when the budget was originally approved, they didn't need council's approval. And it's hard for them to understand. I'm going to these meetings and I'm observing what's being said, and it just seems to be things are not the way they are. Similarly, with the issue over the permit fees.
Let's talk about that, because that seems to be the big issue. I've been told a lot of different things about the permit fees, that, you know, that Benish is much higher, okay, and that the citizens are going to get clobbered with their permit fees, et cetera, and I don't know just exactly, John, where that sits, okay? Could you shed some light on this?
Here's invoices from both firms. And as you can see, these firms charge by the hour. They don't charge the fee per se. When they go out and do a code inspection, they charge the city by hour. The fee that was established in 2007, and whether you want to get in semantics, whether it was a building fee or UCC fee, it doesn't matter. It was established by City Council. And the same thing, these fees today are not Benish's fees. While he may have been contracted to try to develop fees for the city on its behalf, it's still city council that legislates, that passes those fees. They have the right, when it comes before them, to reject the fees, to amend the fees, to do whatever they want. But they have to be sure, when they do that, that they are covering the costs of the code department. Well, the city's problem, and PEL came out with it in a report, you know, they say you're going to cut staff in the city. How are you going to do it? Let's take the Department of Administration. When Sam Monticello was here, he had 5 girls under him. Mary Ellen Lieb now has 2 girls under her. So we've already cut the size of government. We need between 15 and 20 more cops. The 6 that we hired weren't to take away overtime. With the plethora of crimes that have happened, they are out there on the beat working those cases. There aren't extra police to do extra things. It's nice to say, you know, hire a clerk, but the money isn't there. It's still $3.5 million in the budget for the police department. There isn't 3.9 or 4.2. There's 3.5. You hire an extra clerk, that has to come out of that budget. It doesn't get added to the budget. Otherwise, you're going to take the taxes of the city and put them through the roof.
Well, one of the big problems there.
Now, let's stick with this here. Now, this
You're going to go on the
No,
fees.
did you see that?
I didn't see that, so
Okay,
I don't have.
This is,
Well,
now,
what I saw with the
now what
ordinance.
they're saying is, okay, is that the fact that that Benish's fees are.
Well, no, they represent the city, and I've never said that Benish makes the fees up. There was an issue there where Benish had given the code department their fees, their own listing of fees, and the city code office was not charging the correct fees that were passed by council. That was the issue there. And the recent ordinance now where they want to increase the fees, they do not, on a majority of the permits, you will, if you do the math,
Yeah.
you'll find that with this increase, it is quite high. And I want to point out,
Yeah.
Ray, let me point this right out to and I want people to understand this. I understand we have to make up the money to pay these people that work in the city. The problem is, if you have these fees that are so high, the city itself, the properties are falling down. People can't afford it. The newspaper last week presented it well. When they said Northeastern PA, with our lack of jobs, we are in a position here.
But the fee,
the people don't have the money.
But are the fees being determined by Benish?
No, I never said that.
That's what I'm asking. So
They're being
so
determined by council terms.
And Benish's charge per hour is less than the other firm.
So actually the fees that are being charged is not Benish,
right,
but it's the city council.
Right,
Yeah,
it's an
but
ordinance.
Unfortunately, they were charging their own fees, and this is what the issue
Okay,
was.
I understand. So
I don't know that, Grace. You don't have, where's
right.
the documentation? I'm bringing you documentation that Benish is
Well, I
cheaper than the
didn't
other
bring-
firm.
The only thing I brought you was your email,
yeah,
because you
here-
didn't get it.
The point, again, I understand. What I'm trying to say is, with you, John, and with you, is that if I'm under the impression of Grace and John that Benish is through the roof, okay, with his prices, okay, that's what I'm being told.
We're paying for the guy that does the inspections his travel time. He isn't even from the local office.
But
That is ridiculous.
that's ridiculous. That's different than the fees. The fees are set by council.
No, the city has to, and the money comes from the fees.
Right.
And we have to pay it.
Okay.
And
Right.
we are paying
So your
this
suggestion-
man's travel time. Here, you just gave it to me.
Yeah. So you're paying the travel time. But the point is that their hourly rate is still less than the previous firm. And that's a savings to the
Throw
city.
on the cost
Throw it on.
and see what it
Throw
comes
it
out
on.
to.
Throw it on.
Oh, well,
You're
that's
looking
all
at
I'm
you're looking
saying.
at the difference between $60 an hour and $65 an hour and $78 an hour. So
And you're looking at just here $100 and $200 right there in just travel time.
but you don't know how much time that was involving.
No, I don't.
Okay, so
So don't throw the figure out there.
I
I'm
don't.
telling you that I'm looking at the
not
hourly
lucky
rate.
enough to get this kind of things.
Well, sure you are.
It's a fight. It's a fight. I'm going to give you a perfect example.
no, that's wrong. If you
It's a
that's
fight.
isn't that public information?
Sure it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Then you
Good
should
luck.
have access. Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
good.
going to give you a perfect example. When the Pine Street project was built, the redevelopment authority owned them. When they sold the properties, the redevelopment authority's director signed when the they signed the paperwork for the sale of the homes. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you as a reporter. You go find me where that money is. Find me where that money went to.
Are you suggesting that's
I'm not saying there's anybody did anything illegal, but you show me where it went.
It had to be audited, Grace. Where's the audit?
Where? That's right. Show me.
It's there.
No,
You're
it
just
isn't.
saying it isn't there. That's your opinion. See, and this
Sure.
is where
So
we're
the
at.
illusion
I did look. No, I looked. You show me where that money is from the purchase of those homes.
Okay, so what the connotation I'm getting here now, okay, when you say that to me is that, something is wrong.
There is.
Okay, so what do you think is wrong then?
I would love to know where the money. I just said, where did it go?
Are you thinking that someone stole the money? Are you thinking it was
went somewhere?
Okay, so now what John's saying is
the audits don't show it, John. I've looked at the audits.
So
I can answer that.
So even though there's an audit, you still think?
So you're going to tell me an auditor let money vanish with the accounting principles that he has to do?
What amazes me is that's exactly right. Isn't that amazing?
I don't believe that. I have to tell you,
John,
we're going to rebut that.
You can't rebut it unless you have.
But you do not. You do not have any proof.
I've looked for the last. I didn't accuse anybody. I asked you to find out where
I would
the
go
money
to. I would go to the audit. That's what I would have to. I would have to.
I have the audits.
Well, then, so in other words, you don't believe the audit.
It's not in a period.
Oh.
Well, money doesn't vanish. Money's like matter.
I agree with you,
science
John.
principle of matter is it's neither created
You
nor
are
destroyed.
right.
It's moved from place to place. So to sit here and say that it vanished.
Then where did it go? The money had to go.
That's getting off the issue. We're talking about today's. We're not talking about you're probably
you bring up a
No,
point.
because they're going to be doing the same thing with the properties up by the hospital.
Okay, let's take a break. Folks, I'm talking to Grace Cuozzo and John Keegan, talking about different issues and how we agree to disagree. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Grace Cuozzo is here and John Keegan's here. John, we could have a 3-hour show here of discussing a lot of things and do's and don'ts.
Right.
How do you sum, what your thoughts are with the city, with the HCA, and what are your thoughts, John?
Well, I own 2 properties in the city. I have a vested interest in what happens in the city, and that's why I'm involved, why I decided to get involved. I think that in order to move this city forward, we have to look at economic development, number one. If we put people downtown, everything else will come with it. And that's what we are working on between the HCA. I'm helping the mayor out with some things, and that's what we're trying to do. But instead, you're getting this collateral issues that really aren't moving the city forward, particularly what I'm seeing on city council. They say we are supposed to ask questions. Well, it's when you took the position, that wasn't the time to start learning. You told the voters that you knew what you were doing. And I think that they have to demonstrate that they know what they're doing. They have to start moving forward and forget about carping and sniping during the meetings. There's much time during the day to do your homework. I do my homework at the HCA before I ever attend a meeting. When I go to the meeting, we are ready to act. We aren't there to find out things. We're there because we've already know what we need to do, and we move forward.
Grace, as a concerned citizen, and once again, I want you to know that I didn't mean anything derogatory when I said watchdog. I meant that in a positive way. I'm just saying let's get some things from those meetings. And I do encourage people to go and agree to disagree. What do you have in 2 minutes?
I've watched council for a long time. And there's always been a little give and take. And if you consider that sniping, okay. The only one, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, has been Karen. She's been very bad. I mean, she was sitting there fighting the other day with Mr. Scarcella.
You said that you don't want me to bring up the other person because he couldn't be here to defend himself, so please don't bring her up.
Well, you didn't. I don't need. She can't defend herself. She was on Channel 16, and they ran her on the 35. Believe me, her behavior was there. What the issues right now?
The connotation that the viewers are going to get, okay, is that Karen was out of order and doing. But I don't have Karen here to say.
Okay, then she wasn't out of order.
I'm not saying that, Grace. I'm saying that I don't know the full story. You come in this building sometimes, you're going to hear me yelling. Maybe, well, I was in there and Sam Lesante was going crazy. Maybe in the heat of the moment. Okay, I wasn't there. And she's not here to defend, neither is Jack. So that's why I didn't bring anything up with Jack Monday or with Karen. But the point is that are you able to, have you asked the mayor to sit down with him and say, Mayor, I have some...
I can't get the mayor to say hello. Joe has had issues way back since he ran against Marsicano. And I'm sorry. He lost, I can't help it. He won now, oh, that's great. But he's got to move forward, and he hasn't. Where's the wind turbine? We haven't heard any more on that one. The solar farm.
The wind turbine is because of the funding in Washington. They don't know whether they're going to redo it, so nobody's moving forward with wind turbines.
Well, okay, that's good, but that's only John telling me this.
Go read it in the paper. I'm reading what's in the paper.
I understand what the federal government.
So, in other words,
doing.
what you're saying,
but
it seems that you have a problem.
Joe saying these
it seems
things?
that you have a problem with anything that. If someone says something,
I don't expect everybody to carry everything.
Well, no, you're saying
through.
that's what John's saying, but is it fact or is it not fact?
Well, I don't know.
But the point is, before I would say something, I would want to make sure that I have my facts.
Well, you can't see Joe. He won't come to meetings, and that's fine.
Did you call Joe Yannuzzi?
I'll call him up today and ask him to come.
Say, Joe, you know what? I'd like to meet with you, okay, and see what he says. I have to break. I hate to break, folks. But Grace, I want to tell you, when people tell me when I mention Grace Cuozzo's, they always have nice things to say about you, whether they agree or disagree. And I got to tell you this, John. When we did the show with the Water Authority, okay, and I talked to people that you did not know I talked to, all I could tell you is that we're very happy and pleased what you're doing up there. So I think I mean, so we got two great people doing some things. Hopefully we get together and make some future out of this, a positive future. Thanks for joining us, folks. We'll see you next time.